Hey, check 1, 2. This is a test of a microphone.
All right. Well, thanks, Max, for joining us, taking the time. Sometimes it's hard
Oh, yeah. I mean,
to justify
yeah.
talking
It's
about
fun.
other people's stuff.
What do you guys? Did you guys do anything exciting for Easter weekend?
We did the typical stuff. We hunted for eggs and ate a lot of food. I think I overdid it on candy.
I definitely
I'm
did.
a little hungover.
They have they're limoncellos where they're almonds coated in white chocolate, coated in a lemon shell, candy shell.
I've never had this.
They're like big M&Ms, but lemon flavored.
Mm-hmm.
Whole bag gone.
Oh, yeah.
In like 2 days.
You don't even have kids. You're just...
Nope, I'm just. And then I went beekeeping yesterday. That was fun.
I saw that.
Okay, yeah, I saw
Tell
that.
me more about the beekeeping, because
It's something I've just always wanted to do since like Bob Riggs mentioned that he had a
Uh-huh.
thing, and I've always just been like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Especially like when you watch the PBS documentaries and the beekeeping. This is how you make honey on Mr. Rogers when I was a kid and all that stuff.
Where did you go beekeeping?
Do you know Chuck Grunenfelder from Emmanuel? You would
Oh.
recognize Chuck and Terry.
Yeah. Okay.
You would recognize
Yes.
them immediately. But I just called or texted Bob and was like, hey, you still doing beekeeping? He's like, no, but here's everybody I was friends with that beekeeped and
be kept.
kept bees. Beekeeped.
We just call it beeped or
Beeped.
becked.
Yeah. Beeped. It might be something I get into. Yeah. So I was just asking to go check it out, and they were doing their first of the year treatments for mites and stuff. So
That's cool.
So really, it's more like bee borrowing
it was more
rather
like
than keeping. You might
the
keep them later
introduction.
on.
It was like introducing me to all the bees. Hey, Goose.
I'm getting lots of kisses.
You need to lay down, or you're getting ejected.
The way he's looking at you, though, is just like, what'd I do?
He's like,
I don't know.
he'll settle down. Maybe. All right, come on.
So many good kisses, though. Thank you, Goose. Well, beekeeping, I feel like, takes the cake. That's exciting. Did you get stung? Did you
No.
get stinged?
They're super chill.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you move slow and you hum tunes. Yeah, I'm sorry about that stand. If you need to,
I'm just
get a
getting it
different
in
one.
position. What? Did you say you have to hum tunes?
Maybe I did. I was just kind of humming.
You're trying to
the whole way.
communicate with the bees?
Yeah, and wiggle my body in a way that matches their rotations.
That's
Let's see. One thing I learned is that if the way you face the hives, so there's an entrance and an exit to the hives, and it faces one direction of the box, right? If you face in a direction, that's the direction the bees will go, and it's like a bee highway. Somehow they geolocate where the flowers are and the pollens are, and if you even stand in that bee highway for a couple minutes, it makes them agitated. So you don't stand in front of the box. Kind of like a horse. You don't stand right behind a horse because they can't see you, and they'll kick you. It's the same kind of thing where there's a bee highway, and if you stand in that highway, they get kind of hey.
Buzz off, man.
Yeah, they get kind of buzz off.
Get out
Good
of
one.
the way, dummy. You can't just stand in the way of the bee highway. Nobody likes that.
What was I humming? So I was humming Zanzibar. I don't know if that's on this album.
No,
I don't think it's
it's
on
not.
this album.
Did the
It's a
bees
good segue,
appreciate
though.
some Billy Joel?
Good segue into today. We're talking about Billy Joel.
Okay, wait, you didn't
And
even introduce the
specifically-
pod.
Oh, well, go for it.
Okay. Ahem.
We're out of practice because it's been about 8 months.
The cool thing about audio is you can take an intro from. You don't have to do it in
Previous
order.
episode?
No, you don't have to do it in order. We could do the intro once we've warmed up a little bit.
That's what I mean.
That's already too much work.
It's too much. We don't. This
We
is
did
a
it all.
low budget podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
We use socks as pop filters.
That's right.
Oh.
Till we get a sponsorship from a pop filter company, and then they'll
Yeah,
send
once
us
we
some
get
for
our
free.
first Patreon check, 'cause that's when we'll splurge.
Your dad's record collection is brought to you by Puma Costco Value Pack.
You nailed
on
it.
sale right now. This is your dad's record collection. We are an 80s album retrospective podcast where we take one classic 80s record and we break it down over the course of an episode. And I'm Scott,
I'm Ryan.
and today we are just chuffed to have our good friend,
Completely chuffed, mate.
chuffed mate, our good friend, keyboardist / co-lead singer of Starcourt, mastermind behind Water Monster, and longtime collaborator, Max Harnischfeger.
Hello. Happy to be here.
I can edit in roaring applause.
Please do.
I'm not gonna.
No, you need to.
Too much work.
Or else I walk.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning to talk about. Did we say it already? We're
Yeah,
here.
Billy Joel,
Glass Houses.
Glass Houses.
Yeah, Billy Joel's attempt to make like a punk new wave record, kind of.
Yeah. Technically, I think it's power pop. We'll get into it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll get into it.
I have a lot to say, I
Okay,
think,
good.
about the conception that some of the sort of guys that had been around for a while at this point had of like, I'm going to make a record that is sort of mimicking the punk and new wave stuff at the time, you
Sure.
know, and how it actually turns out,
Yeah.
because it is really interesting. I think Billy Joel's not the only one who's doing that kind of thing, but it is
He's hearing
funny.
they're hearing everything on the radio and going, oh,
Yeah, like
I need to do that.
right, exactly. And one of the things that I think will come up a lot is how guys that started in bands in the 60s, but then sort of broke big in the 70s, when they're making like a record inspired by some of these sounds that are going to shape, especially the early 80s, they're like still leaning on when they say, oh, I want to, like he said, I want to make a more rock-oriented record.
Yeah.
And
in
he's
the
like-
doc, he was like, he literally says in the doc, power pop.
Yeah, like he's
Yeah.
big.
Which is why I like looked up power pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny that it's leaning hard on old ideas of rock and roll in a lot of ways, using the sounds that are sort of
Yeah.
shaping what's... And a lot of the guys,
Yeah.
we talked about that with Huey Lewis, too. You know, a lot of their
Yeah.
sound was guys who had been this very good live rock band before they ever broke big, you know,
Yeah.
and then kind of took the sounds of what would become the 80s sound, you know.
That's
and
kind of Billy Joel's story, too,
yeah,
a little bit.
It's interesting, the
Yeah.
parallels there.
Yeah. You didn't watch the doc, Max? Or you watched the very beginning of it?
Yeah, I saw the first part.
So I was like, classic Ryan, you got like, we're starting with Glass Houses and Billy Joel, who started in like 65.
Sure.
So this is like 15 years into his career.
10 years after he was signed, right?
Yeah.
And 2 records after he finally had a breakthrough.
And I wrote 3 pages of like his history and like all my thoughts on that. And then I'm like, why did I even do this? People should just go watch the doc.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm like combing through the doc, going line by line, and just like, wait, why am I doing this if they can just watch this?
Sure.
They should just watch the doc.
We'll give him a flyover.
We need a little preamble.
It's
but
called And So It Goes. It's on HBO Max. I'm sure you could find a way to not watch it on HBO Max.
If you're savvy,
If you're savvy. Yeah, that's if you're so inclined.
build yourself a cyber deck.
So I don't know if
and
I don't know if we really want to
download
just
it
go
on there.
into the whole history. We'll just like,
Well, I think it's important to, at this point, like to look, because this is 1980. That's
Correct.
why we picked this one because actually when we were looking at what record to do next, we were looking at like what were some of the top albums of 1980.
yes.
And I was actually surprised to see this one sitting near the top of the albums chart for that year.
Yeah.
But when you realize that this is essentially like his 3rd hit record in a row, But it took him like 15 years just to kind of get to one record that actually broke through. I just think it's interesting to kind of look at the fact that once again, like, he's one of those guys that came up.
Does winning a
No, go ahead.
Does winning a Grammy equal breaking through?
It was huge. I mean, at that point in time,
because he won 2 Grammys.
Yeah, for The Stranger.
Well, that was his first platinum album thing.
And it was at the time the best-selling album in Columbia Records history.
Yeah, he won 2 Grammys for The Stranger. He won 2 Grammys for 52nd Street.
Right.
So at this time, in the summer of '79, when he's recording Glass Houses, he has 4. So is he really has he broken through?
He's a multi-millionaire.
He's you have to. The other thing though is that it's not just that the albums broke through, because I think if you look, he talks about how, when he was young, when he first started out, he's playing in bands, and he said essentially we're just mimicking Beatles songs.
Yes.
We're doing bad Beatles songs,
Yeah.
That's what he was writing, but it was clear that he had talent, he had a voice, especially playing the piano, and people recognized his vocal ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then he plays in that band with that guy John Small that he describes as like Led Zeppelin, but instead of guitars he's playing organ.
It's just organ and drums,
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious watching that doc, because he's so they both are like, I think it was terrible. I think everybody thought it was terrible, but we just so badly wanted to be Led Zeppelin, but didn't play guitar. So it's just like, this is what we can do.
The album art on that is so good.
It's incredible.
With the meat hanging, and they're wearing the Viking attire. Yeah.
They're like, oh no, but I'm like, this is actually amazing. It's
Attila. Is that the?
Yeah.
Is that the name of the
Attila,
band?
yeah.
Attila.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Man, that stuff. I feel like it's interesting how it shapes him. Coming into him writing his solo stuff, which of course is in the wake of he falls in love with that guy's wife and then leaves and attempts suicide, which is very
That's
dramatic.
really the only thing I kind of wanted to talk about. So I was glad that you watched it. Was throughout the whole doc, my wife is just going, man, what a who was in love with Billy, knew every song, knew everything, was like, oh, this is amazing. I want to watch this doc. We went and saw him in 2022 or
Where
21 in Austin when we went to the F1 race.
Oh, okay.
And he played at the F1 race. 100,000 people out on this huge hill.
Yeah, yeah.
It was super cool.
Well,
every song sounded the same. I'll be honest. When you're in that sea of people and you can just we were too far back, I think, where we couldn't really see him on the stage, but we just see the big screens. Cool, another piano rocking song, but she knew every word, everything. So then we're watching the doc, and it's like, oh, what a selfish, narcissistic pig, and it was super cool. It's hard, there's hard things you learn about your hero, and then also oh, he's human, and at least they've kind of come to terms with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody seems to be on the same page of he's a human, he's messed up, but and
that's
he's a tortured artist.
Every artist that you dig into, you're gonna. Okay, on a side note, we went and took the kids to go see Super Mario this weekend, but the trailer for that Michael Jackson movie played.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I'm just
I think it looks cool.
Did you know that I think it's his nephew that's playing him?
I think so, yeah.
In the movie, it's one of his brother's kids, but
yeah.
You just wonder how far into what is that doc going to talk about? Because
it's not a doc.
No, a biopic.
Biopic,
sorry, but
yeah.
The idea that you're going to cover this artist up to a certain point in their life and then not go any further, because the further you go, the murkier it gets trying to, tell a story without dealing with uncomfortable truths,
Yeah.
I just kind of keep thinking in the era that we're in now, maybe we just don't do that anymore. Maybe just let people listen to the music and
have
then
their
go read the
idea
Wikipedia
of their
article
person.
and make your own mind up about whether you think you should still support this guy. I don't know.
How does that tie into Billy Joel? What were you saying?
No, all I was saying, like you're
Kind
saying
of crashing of dreams.
yeah, these
kind of
stories
like,
about
oh.
like artists, especially when they're young and stupid, and like
Well, and with Billy Joel specifically, throughout the whole doc, and I don't think there's any spoilers here, but throughout the whole doc, you're just learning that he has no ability to communicate his emotions and feelings when he's like, okay, this is an untenable situation. He kind of just blows it up and leaves, and then writes songs, these amazing, incredible songs
Right.
about it. And that's kind of his therapy, right? Like that's his way of dealing with the situation and the problem, is by writing these songs. While that's really cool, my question is that the right thing to do? No.
of course,
Is that like
who do you leave in your wake?
like how
you
is
know?
like leaving Elizabeth and her son just out high and dry, and then like never calling his band again, and it just ends in the early 90s, like, and it's just he just stops.
Yeah.
There's this untenable situation, like in California with Artie Rip and that situation
Where he
he's like-
recorded the record at the wrong speed and
yeah, that was his first album. But then he like later, I think four Turnstiles, which is the one right before The Stranger, he records with Elton John's band.
okay.
Well, they try, which is so funny to me. That
What
feels
else
like
are you gonna do?
it feels like
Yeah.
the most studio executive note of all time.
Absolutely,
Which is like, we just signed this guy who writes like pop rock songs and plays piano.
right.
Yeah.
I got a thought,
Well,
This reminds me of something.
yeah.
What's working in this genre already?
I mean, to
Let's just do
defend
that.
them, yeah, like to defend them, like if I had the guy who produced Elton John's number on speed dial, what else would you do? Be
Sure.
like, hey,
I
you
mean-
got any ideas? Yeah, let's just get him in the studio.
Right.
And then I think as the artist, who at the time you can tell he did not want to be
And
like,
never did.
compared
Yeah,
to
and
Elton
never
John.
does.
So he's just
Even
like
in the doc, he like takes.
take some swipes at
He's like, oh, we're completely different styles. Like he's more like plays one thing, and then I'm more like plays the exact same thing, but like fancy, like more notes. And it's like,
it does kind of seem like he's like, he does this and then, but I'm better. Like listen to how I play the piano. I play more notes than him.
yeah,
Not
not to make fun of him. I mean, maybe to make fun of him.
But
a
I
little
think
bit.
it's kind of the double-edged sword where we've talked about this before, but like the bullheadedness is part of that, like what actually gets him to success, because
yeah,
it is true that I think he needed kind of some New York guys to like play in a band with him,
and
because
that's my favorite thing.
yeah,
Having listening to all these albums,
Yeah.
up to Glass Houses, and I guess hot take is Turnstiles is where it finally gets good, in my opinion. Like I'm like I
think-
actually like this, and I like the music, not necessarily Billy Joel or his songs up to that point. Because I'm not like a ballad.
I mean,
I don't really like ballads.
but
I don't
Captain
really
Jack
like
is
piano.
pretty great though.
Captain Jack's pretty great.
And I love that story. That's a classic rock and roll story that essentially he gets discovered because his band had done a radio in studio thing
Yeah,
live.
he did. Yeah.
Played Captain Jack, left, and over a year later, somebody from Columbia finally finds him and says, "Hey, this radio DJ, they've been getting requests for this song."
Yeah.
And they were like, "We don't even know who Billy Joel is or where he is or what." And they finally find him and sign him because of that, It's just I love those stories. Because I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. So
Right. Yeah.
unless you're like the band, the Canadian band Angine de Poitrine right now, who did their KXP
Oh, the
session.
micromodal.
The microtonal math rock
Microtonal
band dressed in polka
modal.
dots and masks and
The polka dot band.
Yeah,
That's
like-
how I described him to Kip, and he was like, "Oh yeah, exactly."
because everybody's seen it now. It
Yeah.
blew up on social media because of that and apparently they've been playing together for like 15-20 years or something, which is the best. So yeah, I mean, sorry to get back on track. I think, he obviously like Piano Man kind of becomes like a hit early, but not like, I don't think that one took on the life that it does later, like right away, but was obviously the first sort of like signature song that he had. But it's interesting that then he spends the next like several records sort of distancing himself from that persona. He doesn't want to just be
Yeah.
like storyteller at the piano. Like even The Stranger has a lot of more like guitar driven songs, a
Yeah.
lot of like groove driven songs. And you know,
That's
he's
when they got Phil Ramone, who like could actually talk
yes.
to him and
Yes.
communicate with him and be like, "Oh, maybe you should try this."
Well, and I
And
love
then
this.
those are my favorite songs too. Are
Yeah.
the songs that are like where the piano has a part
Yeah.
and not the lead. And no offense, Max.
I'm not offended.
How dare you.
How dare you? No offense to all the piano players out there. It's just like
I wouldn't consider myself a piano player
yeah.
even. I'm a bass player who taught myself guitar and then piano by necessity. I think that do we want to talk about the glass houses yet, or are we still leading up to it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're getting there. I just think Phil Ramone is a really interesting, like, that's
it's
an
a really
important
integral part
Yeah,
of his 3-album journey of
The Stranger, 52nd
The Strangers,
Street.
52nd, and then Glass Houses is
Yeah.
that
And I
Phil could communicate. The band is two who were like these rockers, and you listen to them, and I'm like, what were the producers' deal? Like, they sound amazing.
Well, even
They sound
remember,
incredible.
there's that story about how he almost worked with George Martin, and he was so excited.
And George Martin didn't want the rest of the band.
Right, just wanted to bring in studio guys, and so Billy Joel was like, no.
That's a point in Billy Joel's favor of like, love me, love my band.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, dude, you
Yeah.
got it. Like, that is the best when the band you have a band that you gel with that is good and can grow along with you, give you, have a good time. And then, so then The Stranger is Turnstiles is when it looks like he's finally having fun.
Yeah,
In the doc,
exactly.
it's like he's actually smiling in his pictures now, and like he looks like he's having fun. And
dude, and the fits in that doc
yes,
that everybody, like him and his band, are
Yeah.
like wearing, and I'm just like, this is
just
a
tight Wrangler jeans.
oh my gosh,
and like,
yeah, big old blazers, and I'm just like, this is like a really. I'm just taking notes. That's all.
Yeah.
Screenshots.
Screenshots. Yeah. Did you watch that video I sent of Russell Valor or whatever, the guitar player?
No,
No, you didn't.
I didn't get a chance to.
It's during the Turnstiles record when and they're like recording live, and he's like dancing and like performing.
I love
in
all
the
those
studio.
clips from the doc. Yeah,
yeah,
when
yeah.
he's got
with the band,
he's
and
got
the
moves, man.
Russell, he's got moves, and it's like it's really kind of funny to watch because everybody else is like performing and like trying to get their parts correct,
in
and
their
he's
heads
just
and-
like bam, 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 dancing.
Like Phil Ramone being somebody, even watching that doc where it's like he didn't even want to put like Just the Way You Are. He didn't want to put that on the record. And like Phil Ramone and his wife and manager Elizabeth were the ones that convinced him like, no, not only should you put that on there, but like that's the song that goes on to win a Grammy and like,
Elizabeth is a flippin' queen.
Yeah, it was
too.
like the genius that helped to
Dude.
push him. And I think it's where his like, again, that bullheadedness to like, like work with my band, I want this vibe and all that, but also not always being able to hear where the hit is or where like the and so needed that guidance. And so the 3 records he makes, like Phil Ramone being able to guide that, I think is a huge piece of that. But 52nd Street is very much a like, okay, we're going to do a more jazz influenced album, brings in a lot of jazz session players and all of that. But you can tell that by Glass Houses. So 1980 is, you've got the shift that's happening in the last 3 years of the 70s in a lot of like rock and pop music. It's just really funny that the probably most remembered song, Still Rock and Roll to me,
Yeah.
is almost him being like a grumpy old man about it, and yet trying to embrace some of these sounds and like make like a quote like rock like new wave punk type record, or like influenced by that stuff.
And that's his biggest hit from the record, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't play piano on it.
No, it's so, and the first like 3 tracks on the
I love
record,
that.
2 or 3 or whatever,
Yeah.
there's like almost none.
And it's his band just so tight. I'm going to say this a lot that I love his band. I love Liberty
Yeah.
DeVito's drumming.
Yeah.
When you listen to it, I just can see Liberty, this tall, lanky guy, just wailing on the drums and it looks like he's having the time of his life
Yeah.
in the whole doc. And it's just great. Doug Stegmeyer, who I call the Steg.
Ste-
Nobody calls him
Stegosaurus.
that. I'm just like the Stegosaurus.
Could we call him and see if he needs a nickname?
Yeah, they didn't put him in the doc, but David Russell was in Glass Houses specifically on lead guitar, which I think is what puts it into the power pop category of genre of music. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like he is trying to step outside of that like balladier, kind of the nice guy, you know. He's like on the front cover wearing the leather jacket.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna throw this rock through this window.
Which is so funny
And
when
that's
you
how the
realize that
record
the
starts.
picture is of his house.
Yeah, it's his house.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm gonna
I
break
just
my
think
own
it's
house.
funny. Like,
Yeah.
I
That's how much of a-
wrote in the notes. I took some notes.
Bad dude I
You may
am.
be right. I wrote "Bad boys in the house."
Yeah.
Bad boy.
He's here to have fun and break glass.
What you gonna do?
You can hear it in the way he's singing even,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like he's really pushing the edginess in his voice. I mean, and he sounds great. So I also, you know, not to jump ahead, but I just think it's interesting that he's at this point, and this was more common, like, you know, in that era, but he's 5 years away from putting out like his greatest hits album, right? Like 85 is when that comes out. And he's already like racked up a bunch of singles that are well known and big hits, you know, at
Usually
this
about
point.
3 per album, which is
yeah,
nuts.
It's nuts. And
Yeah.
the fact that he's coming into this almost like, you know, in a way, like you can tell that he's kind of trying to not become irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like and I kind of respect the fact that he's intentionally pushing in a way toward like, I don't want to just become like an irrelevant like balladeer from the 70s. Like I want to keep trying new things, you know, even if that means leaning on old things, because that's what I know how to do, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have any other background you want to share from your research?
I can.
Mayan Ronson, the researcher.
Yeah. So, like I said, I wrote 3 pages of
And he
just
said he texted
everything.
me last night at like 10:30, and he's like, "Throw it all out."
Throw it all, because that's when I was like, I'm going through the doc again, and I just rehashed the whole doc, and I was like, why did I do that?
Go watch it.
Just go watch it.
interesting.
It's so good.
It's
There's
interesting.
also these interviews. So there's the Glass Houses podcast, which is a specifically Billy Joel podcast.
Okay.
And they interview the executive producers, the directors, the editor, the music editor.
Oh, from the doc.
From the doc.
Cool.
The one that's really fun is Steve Cohen, who is Billy Joel's creative director, who was his original lighting guy, 73 or 74 or something like that. So he's had his whole team, his sound engineer, editor, his like all the people that were like kind of involved in the doc have been with him since the 70s, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. Home Run Management. Liz becomes his manager in 76.
Which we should say, if you haven't watched the doc and you don't know about Billy Joel, this is the woman that he almost took his life because she was married to his best friend. And then they
he kind of
separated
blew.
and-
He was a third wheel. They rented a house together.
Yeah. When they were in the band
And-
together, just a weird story. He realized he was in love with her, had a kind of
My
falling
wife
out
and
with
I
his
were
friend.
talking about that, and we were like, "What do you do when you fall in love with your best friend's wife? You just go, hey, you guys got a lot to work on in your marriage. I need to leave.'
Yeah.
That's what you
probably
do.
the best call.
That's probably the best call. That's what you. But no, he tells each of them that he's in love with
can't.
Elizabeth.
He can't keep it bottled up. He's
He
an
can't.
artist.
Yeah.
He's tortured.
Tortured.
He has
yeah.
to get it
Oh
out
my
somehow.
The
gosh.
torture gets worse, and then he
From his own choices.
starts
Yeah, then he
writing songs about it.
he
But
tries to
but
commit
that is-
suicide twice, and
yeah, the fact though that then they do get married.
yeah,
He's like, stepfather to her son, like all of that. But
yeah.
then she becomes his manager and is essentially the person that like helps him get where he gets to success-wise, is kind of nuts. But yes, Home Run, that's their
Home Run Management.
that's their company.
And that's kind of what puts him into. He just tours constantly for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And says like not making much money at the beginning at all.
Well,
Like,
no, because you think about 30% goes to Artie Rip, the entertainment right off the top.
Yeah.
So that leaves you 70%. So then the band all probably take another 3%. Columbia Records probably takes 25% off the top of that, and then the band, right? So he's probably only making 5-10%. Like
And
him
just
personally,
another-
from just like touring, maybe.
Another example of an artist that makes like a bad deal early in their career
Yeah.
and can't escape it for a long time.
Long time.
You know,
This is
just
the
all
last.
too
Glass
common.
Houses is the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about. Where is it?
I did not realize until, and I haven't finished all of it, like the doc yet, but I didn't realize until I was really doing research that like last studio album in like 93, and then that was it. Like,
Yeah, he just was done.
and when you hear him
Oh,
talk
that's what I
about
was
it,
going to talk about. The critics.
we'll get there
The critics.
when Max comes back. But yeah, that surprised me. I was like, I know he did a few songs and he's continued to play live and do, but it seems like he's just like, I just don't want to do it anymore. I feel like I've done all the,
No, that's exactly what he said.
just like I feel like I've done all the things that I can do in this medium. So
That's exactly what he said. He was like, the business, pop rock business, does not interest me anymore. I've done everything I can.
it's crazy
Even though it sold a couple million copies.
because it was
The
a
River of
Dreams.
Peace,
Is
The
that what it
River
was?
of Dreams. River of Dreams. Hey, we're a new podcast, so this is where an ad would normally go.
Wait, right here?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
But let's face it, Scott, money makes the world go, and we need money
Who
to
needs
do this
money?
podcast. We do. Well, specifically me. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I need money.
Well.
But we need to do this podcast full time. That's the dream, where we're just a couple podcast daddies.
Pad daddies? I don't know.
Pod daddies.
I don't know what that's supposed to say. But yes, we need support, and listening is the best way. Liking, reviewing, sharing with your friends, your family,
Just
and
talking
your
about us.
dog. Those are free ways that you can support the show if you really like it, and we appreciate any engagement whatsoever.
So if you really enjoy our show, like really love it, you're a hardcore YRDC-er.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a name for
Right.
our fan clubs. We really would love to partner with you and experience your product firsthand so that we can do an ad campaign with you.
Yeah. And so, look, if you want to work with us, if that sounds like a good investment of your time and your money, get at us at ydrcpodcast@gmail.com, ydrcpodcast@gmail.com.
Now, back to your regularly scheduled content. We'll get to that probably towards the end
Okay,
because it's
great.
it kind of wraps up everything you feel.
Perfect.
And it when we get to this segment of is he still relevant today
Sure.
or does it still
Yeah,
hold
does it
up
still
today?
hold up?
We'll talk about it then. Yeah. These 3 albums that were like huge successes, The Stranger, 52nd Street, Glass Houses, were kind of critically panned.
The Stranger
Like,
wasn't
They were
necessarily,
all kind
but
of over the board.
the next 2 were kind of, yeah. The Stranger actually, I think, was pretty
Yeah.
well reviewed.
Yeah.
I
But-
think this comes up a lot for me with Billy Joel is some of the arrangements and the songs are so undeniable, but I'm always conflicted because I think it's not just Billy Joel as a person, but it's the whole package kind of turns me off a little bit, or like it's like I don't know if it's that you just kind of are aware that it's not the coolest thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes sense that things are like kind of across the board in terms of reception because on one hand, I could look at Glass Houses. I kept finding myself writing notes about how ridiculous and sad like the things he's writing about is, and
Yeah.
like what a sad sack he's being.
Yeah.
But then there's like a moment in every single song where I'm like, but this is a perfect song,
Mhm.
and the arrangements, all the choices they're making are spot on and
Yeah.
work so well for
Yeah.
the subject matter that it is kind of it's you can't deny the genius of it, but at the same time it's kind of like a guilty pleasure almost. For
Yeah,
me.
and I think it's fun. Like I wrote something similar down, which is that like there's a couple tracks that are obvious like album filler, but it's like even the ones that are album filler feel like impeccably crafted pop music.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's little like hooks around every corner or chord changes that you don't expect that are like, ooh, that's really cool.
Totally.
The thing that I kept like thinking about when I was in the doc when they're talking about like especially the critics that were talking about this in 1980 when it came out and are like saying, you know, like Still Rock and Roll to me is the worst rock and roll, even though it was like one of the top selling songs of that year, which we'll talk about when we get into the charts for 80. But critics are like, this song sucks, you know, like, and that's because, you know, you look at what's cool in that 3 years, right? It's the whole new wave of underground music that's coming out of New York. And so the thing that I always think is hilarious with that stuff, because it's very similar to what we talked about with Huey Lewis, and I feel like you see this a lot, is that punk movement, right? A lot of that came out of this desire to like kind of get away from overblown sort of corporate, like managed big label, that kind of stuff, right? Over-arranged, overproduced, like down and dirty kind of rock and roll. And then, you know, that conception of what that is kind of goes away pretty quick because everybody moves toward like even by 77, 78, people are starting to move into like weirder influences. And like, I always think it's funny that like, if you look at the backgrounds of like the artists and where they come from, like most of the people in the punk new wave scene are all like art school kids and kids who like come from money backgrounds with, you know, like parents that have money and families that have money. And like the guys like Billy Joel, literally self-made artists who come from like, you know, like
one of my favorite things is that Hicksville is a real place.
He's like proudly
It's
wearing
like
the shirt that says like
Hicksville,
New York. Yeah.
And it's a real place.
Right.
And it's just so funny to me that it's like he comes from Hicksville, Long Island.
Yeah.
Which in my brain, when you say Long Island, it's just New York. Like it's just part of New York.
But there's like
it's
something
not,
rough and tumble about it, you know?
It's pretty awesome that he legitimately came from Hicksville.
Yeah.
And if you think of the punks as like, you know, in a lot of like, I mean, in a way, this goes back to this is the Beatles and the Stones, right? Like Beatles were clean cut pop act when they first were really bursting on the scene.
Right.
They all come from like working class Liverpool, you know, backgrounds. And the Rolling Stones are all like
heroin
rich kids
addicted.
from, you know, from like art school.
Yeah.
Billy Joel as a, you know, if you want to talk about an outsider, like I was watching the doc kind of thinking he was never part of a scene, and that's interesting. Like even when he moved out to LA, he's not falling in with the Laurel Canyon people.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. He's always an outsider. And so the fact that he gets called like, oh, he's just kind of making this, like he's the man, you know what I mean? Versus like the punks is like, in a funny way, he really is more authentically himself than some of these other people are who put the persona on to like be arty and punk and all of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, but do you get the feeling that he's also always looking for validation in what he's doing?
100%.
He's always looking to be on the inside. And I feel like he's wearing his influences on his sleeves in a lot of ways where I'm listening to a song. I'm like, this sounds like a Steely Dan song. This sounds like a Harry Nilsson song.
Sounds like Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Like,
oh, yeah.
You can tell he's trying to get in. But
yeah.
like, whereas I feel like the references you're making about like art school and kind of the new wave and punk stuff that's coming out is a lot of people are trying to find their way out.
Yeah, they want to be outsiders, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like, and this is coming from somebody who, you know, David Byrne is like my favorite artist of all time, and like Remain in Light's like my favorite album ever, you know. Yes, I think you have people that like, the difference is, you're probably right, is that there's a lot of those people who are like, they're trying to be weirdos, and Billy Joel is trying not to be, you know, in a way.
He's trying to be cool.
Yeah, he's trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And that feels like that's all over this record, is like trying to be cool, you know, in a way that's still like, I don't care, you know, but like,
even
you know,
in some of the album art, on the back of it is him looking through a shattered glass with like what looks like the Knack. If you look at 79, where he's wearing what looks like a new wave outfit, where it's like a skinny tie and the jacket, and it's like, it's pretty, that's why it's only on some of the albums, because it was on the first ones, and then the critics laughed at him for it, and then they changed it to just like, I think, white, I think. But
yeah, because he's never been a style icon. The man is...
Although, like I said,
the man
watch that documentary.
I think that's a sign of the times. I mean, that's the...
Well, that's his band.
I don't know.
He's always wearing like beige suits and thick fat ties and like doesn't really have a hairstyle, just kind of
it's just
is
a
there.
wild mop of hair.
I sent out a
I think it's
picture of
funny.
him in 73 where he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
And I always am just like, everybody, of course, guessed that he was in his 20s. And I was like, well, that's just because you're a music snob. But I
Well,
was like, he looks like he's in his 40s. And
that
he
you
has
just-
looked like that.
I feel like
ever
that looking at
since.
almost anybody back in the 70s, and
Yeah.
you're like, you have to guess that they're younger than they are because
Yeah.
they all look older.
Yeah.
I think it's funny to like what you're saying about trying to like fit in, style. Like this was another kind of like parallel point.
Yes.
Is I was talking to somebody recently about how back when when Nirvana ended, and Dave Grohl starts the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
If you ask people who were like there at the time and were like of the age that they loved Nirvana, they would tell you that like Nirvana was cool and the Foo Fighters were corny and sucked. Like they weren't cool. It wasn't cool to like them. It's funny that there are teenagers right now that are discovering music from that era because it's swinging back around in popularity that don't know the difference. They're just like, this is rock music from
The 90s.
Yeah, and I think it's all cool. They're like, Smells Like Teen Spirit, great. Everlong, great.
Right.
And I do think there's a little bit of that, like when you look back at some of this stuff where you can appreciate, like, again, like the musicianship and the craftsmanship of like power pop music for what it is and not compare it to something like what, the cool bands were doing at the time, which is what critics in the moment don't have the
Yeah, they don't have the hindsight.
Yeah, and they shouldn't, right? Like
Right.
that's not their job in the moment, is to look at it that way. Okay, let's talk about. I just want to go through and like what stuck out to you, like different songs, different moments, like what as you're listening through it, what jumps out to you. I know for me, I think it's funny that there are at least 2, if not 3 songs on here that if you didn't know it was Billy Joel, you'd easily mistake it for a Paul McCartney solo song from the same era.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's it called? The Don't Ask Why,
Yep.
right? Is very
It sounds
just
exactly.
feels like Paul McCartney, and the last
last
song, yeah,
track
long,
is-
very
Which
very
is,
much.
So that's Billy trying to write something that's still rock and roll to him, like rock and roll from back in the 50s.
Exactly.
That he's going, or 60s, 50s, 60s.
Well, and that's
going,
why
like, it still sounds like this.
Yeah.
And just write it like Paul McCartney. But then Paul McCartney is also trying to go more rock and roll.
yeah.
At the same time, is that
we'll have to-
I'm not familiar
when
with
we
his
look at
80s.
Wings during this era,
Okay.
we'll
We'll get into it a little
yeah,
bit
but you may be right. Kicks off with essentially a Beatles riff. You know what I mean? It feels like that could be from any like late '60s sort of Beatles, song. That guitar riff, and just you're very right. When he's like, I'm gonna make a more rock and roll focused record, he's pulling from what rock and roll was to him
Yeah.
in his youth. Rather than what a lot of the bands are doing contemporary, which is like we're trying to push rock music forward.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like still rock and roll to me feels very much like a Duane Eddy, Gene Vincent kind of riff, And we were saying when we were looking at records to do, and eventually we'll get there, but Queen's record the same year, they have Crazy Little Thing Called Love on there.
Yeah.
Which
is
is
also a 50s.
Yeah, just like a total
60s.
Elvis
like a
send up,
throwback.
Yeah.
And when we talked about Huey Lewis, we talked about the doo-wop influences, and it's like all of these guys that were sort of raised on that music are
Now circling back to it.
like nostalgic for it, and it's
and
coming
getting
back.
the best hits of their career.
Yeah,
from
which is
it.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But, I mean, what stuck out to me was, like I said, it's such a compact and condensed album. It's 35 minutes.
10 tracks.
The first time I listened through it, I couldn't believe that it was over. Like
Yeah.
the cue
Yeah.
just rolled over to whatever the next like related artist was, and I was like, "Oh, it's over. That was it."
Yeah.
And it does such a good job. Minus, I think, 1 or 2 songs. It does such a good job of every song is airtight, and in terms of arrangement and just like the choices that they make, I think it's really, really good. And I don't know how you guys felt. Like, I remember being a kid listening to or hearing Billy Joel songs, and I feel like it tapped into like just there's something immediately enjoyable and like good feeling about the music that he writes. So I think this is like playing in his strength, and he's like at his best here in terms of, I mean, I would definitely take The Stranger over this, but this is still like him at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
Well, especially if I love the guys that feel like they can just kind of go, I want to write something that feels like this, and then they not only can they do it, but it like is enjoyable to listen to. They
recorded this album in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also feels like
it's nuts.
That just shows how
But
good the band is.
This is how he's always been, though. It's like every album is like recorded in a month tops.
Well, he
It's
said
like
he
a
wrote
super condensed, intense.
Still Rock and Roll
time.
to me, like in the car on the way there, like to the session that day. So like, I wanted to ask though, like this is just a little interruption. We'll get back. What do you guys like? What's your first like Billy Joel memory?
I was going to
like,
ask
do you
that
have
too,
like what's the first song that you remember?
Oliver and Company. It's probably got to be.
Dang it. Why should I worry?
Yeah.
Bop of the century.
Yeah. And that was like I can remember the feeling that I had when I heard that song. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
So
but I was
cool.
also
It's
like
so funny.
5 years old.
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
heard
yeah.
it, so.
Yeah,
So funny.
maybe not discerning in your taste yet, but
No.
maybe you
was-
were. I don't know.
So pure.
On one of the Disney movies that my sister watched was like a segment of Oliver and Company where they did like the music video, and so it was Billy Joel at a grand piano with the Wayfarers on, the Ray-Bans on.
Yep.
You remember that picture, and just being like, "This is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is." Like, and that is also how New York became like a mythical place to me,
Oh yeah,
because you're like, it's all about New York, and it's all about being cool and
Yeah, I think
savoir faire.
I think in some ways that song and other stuff is like that feeling is one of the first memories I can remember of thinking like music is cool
Yes.
and wanting to be that cool guy playing music, which is interesting. I mean, I don't think I really dove into Billy Joel much more, or thought about him much more after
he just
that.
entered your conscious and was always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's how it feels. In fact, I actually think the first time that I connected the name Billy Joel to like what he looked like was, it's funny that it was already happening, but watching one of those like Time Life presents, like music of where you could order, whatever CD from TV.
4
and it
easy
had the
payments
hits.
of
Yeah.
1995, and you get 37
Exactly.
discs of everything they've ever made.
And the commercial had, Still Rock and Roll to me, like in one of those clip
Yeah.
reels and the video for it, and
Yes.
seeing him in that video. And so I knew that like image. And so, because I'm pretty sure, I'd already heard like We Didn't Start the Fire or whatever, like was on the radio all the time too. But I do think like, Still Rock and Roll to me was probably the first time that like the song and the name and all that were like connected, to like Billy Joel. That's funny.
What's interesting about, real quick tidbit about just a thought I had just now, was about Oliver and Company is Huey Lewis did the like Once Upon a Time in New York City at the beginning, which is like almost a ballad.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy Joel did the cool song. And I wonder like if originally that was flipped. Because like I would have had Huey doing, because he did like Power of Love, like he did all the like the hit, like those big pop
movie
hits.
songs.
Yeah, and movie songs with Power of Love and all that. I would have had him do the cool song. And then maybe they were like, oh, let's just swip. And Billy Joel, because he's a ballad piano guy.
In another universe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Take each other's place.
An alternate reality.
What do you remember? It's a cat, right? That Billy
Yeah.
Joel plays in the movie?
No,
Or is it
Dodger. It's the dog.
Dodger,
The
okay.
artful
But he does not.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But Billy Joel just sings the song. He doesn't play he's not the voice actor for the dog.
He's not?
No.
Why did I always think he was?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I didn't know either way.
Yeah.
If you asked
That's
me, you could have
interesting.
convinced me.
I could be totally
See, for
off.
some reason in my head, I thought in this alternate universe, they make the dog look like Huey Lewis with the chin and everything, Like,
The chin returns.
yeah. I will say that I think the most 80s feeling song on this album is All for Lena, which is kind of like, to me, like
He does play the voice.
he
I
is the
was
voice.
right.
Okay.
Wild. He
So
doesn't sound anything out of
Imagine
it at all.
Huey Lewis doing that voice and
Yeah.
the chin on
I
the
actually
dog.
can't
and-
imagine it. I like it.
Cheech Martin as
I'm thinking
Tito,
about
the
it right
Mexican
now.
Chihuahua.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm really having a good time. I think All for Lena, like,
All for Lena.
is
Oh,
it's very hold the line.
Yes, I said-
Toto, like,
I
Yeah.
said LA studio sound. It's got
Yes.
the Toto thing. Like,
But Toto didn't come out with that. Hold
yeah,
the line
78.
in 78.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Don't tell people when we play it in our sets that it came out.
Well,
78.
also Blondie.
Shh.
We
That charted
gotta
in 80.
stop, guys.
It did start in 80.
It's gonna get us in trouble.
Don't give
Well,
don't
so
give away our
funnily
secrets.
enough, another point is we don't do any Billy Joel songs in our set.
Not
we
yet.
need to
Not
get. We should do All for Lena. I love that it has like the huge like synth solo, you know, that
Yep.
it builds to, like with the
Mhm.
guitars and the synths in harmony.
Which makes it new wave
yes,
because there's a synth in it.
but it's kind of a cool riff. That
It's cool. It's a cool song.
It's
It is-
like
yeah, it's a really cool song.
I do think it's funny that it seems like he's just throwing random women's names at like, you know, like they're up on a
Sees
board.
what one
and
I
just
had
throwing
a
dart at
I
it.
had another note later on on sleeping with the television on because he name
That's my
drops
favorite
Diane,
song.
and I was like, "What happened to Lena? I thought we were giving it all to Lena."
Yeah, he couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep. He moved on.
Fine, Diane.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. It's just like story after story of him just sitting in a hotel room, just waiting for some girl to come back to him. So he ends up calling
later
what
there's
sometimes
Christy
a fantasy.
Lee.
He ends up calling some other girl so
Yeah.
he can just like get off.
So
And-
which one is Uptown Girl?
Yeah, no, that he hasn't even gotten there yet. He's working his way. Didn't even
But
get
there's
to her
like
name.
Laura and there's Chris. Like there's all these
Yeah.
ladies' names.
Yeah, that picture that he paints at the beginning of "I don't want to be alone anymore." That's the one, right, where he's like, "I showed up in a suit and tie."
And she had
like,
just
at the
laughed
restaurant.
in
She's
my
just
face.
making fun of me. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's probably your hair, man.
Yeah.
Probably should have combed the hair. That one has a very "I don't want to be alone anymore." The riff is very. I feel like they heard like the Cars, you know, like just what I needed, and we're like, let's
Sleeping
do
with
that.
the television on.
Is
that what you're saying?
Is it that one, or I don't want to be alone anymore? Yeah, that one, the one that has like the you know, and it's
Oh, that's
very.
it. That's that's.
To me, that one feels very like, hey, let's do this and make it sound like the Cars. You know?
Sleeping with the television on is my favorite track of the album, and would be my vote if we're gonna do.
It's
one.
a good one.
But it's not. It's a deeper cut. I feel like. So we do All for Lena or Still Rock and Roll to Me. Is like
Still
is the
rock and
two.
roll to me is probably the
It's probably the
the
easiest.
one.
I mean, it
because
is
it's
the. I also, though, I really like You May Be Right. I think it's funny, and it like you
yeah,
know,
I think so.
it kind of is in your face the entire time and doesn't let up. You know.
I also like. I just like he's a little bit self-aware about how insane he is.
But I do that line, like it just might be a lunatic that you're searching for. It's like
it's a good turn.
it's great,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, this is his therapy, right? Like always keep that in mind. That
Yeah.
like, yeah,
He's
I'm proud of William for
of William.
turning his
turning
His
the I
art
inward.
into his
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah.
Turning us into his
he's
therapist.
doing the work.
Yep.
Did you guys notice that the song, like I don't even know how to pronounce the title, but the French song,
Yeah.
which feels very much like album filler, but
That's my least favorite.
it literally like lifts the melody from Michelle by the Beatles. Like
yeah, it's very.
you can hear him kind of going like, well, maybe I'll just do Michelle.
Don't you feel like that? Yeah, he's like if Paul McCartney did it, I have permission to do it too, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it here.
Yeah.
Like,
And like the little da, 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 is like, oh, we're all on the same page. That's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
We're
this
gonna.
is what we think French
mu-
music sounds like.
for like 20 years.
Yep.
But yeah, and then I kind of thought like a hidden gem was like close to the borderline, like right at the end of the record. I'm like, this is also a cool song. I like this one a lot. And you know, for the back half of the record, that I don't know, you have a couple that are a little more forgettable, you know, but like then you get hit with that one. It's like, oh, okay, I'm awake again, you
Yeah.
know.
Pretty solid.
Okay, so wait, but you said your favorite is Sleeping with television on.
Yeah.
I like that one too.
Yep.
Max, what's your favorite?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of good ones. I like different ones for different reasons.
Mhm.
All for Lena is pretty.
It's really
amazing.
good. Yeah.
Just like so anthemic and
Yeah.
epic, and also
It's literally the height of the
It's so-
band.
I'm like, you are so sad, man. Just like it's okay. It's just a girl.
It's so like I kind of love that it straddles the line of like epic and so goofy
Yeah.
in the way that some of the best 80s songs are, you know.
Mhm.
But like when it hits that big like synth, like arpeggiated thing with the guitars, and I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah.
I get so excited.
Yes, me too.
I think that's probably that one, or You May Be Right, are probably my like favorites.
I think that You May Be Right as an opener is great, and I think it sets the tone for what he's trying to do with the album. Like, opens with the glass shattering.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's trying to make a statement, and his statement is like, "Yeah, I'm a bad boy. I'm a little unhinged, but you like it."
Yeah.
And that's how
I'm not even gonna play my piano for like 3 songs. We'll see if you like that.
Yeah, I'm a new person. So if we do You May Be Right for the band for Starcourt, does that mean we have to shatter a pane of glass every time we do it?
Every time. Or we just need to have the sound recorded on the keyboard so that it's just like...
Oh, I didn't realize that's what you were asking, which song we should perform as Starcourt. I've always wanted to do We Didn't Start the Fire.
It was a separate...
If we're playing from this, I think You May Be Right could be really fun.
It would be really fun. Although... You have been dreaming about singing We Didn't Start the Fire for years.
I've been training, preparing for this moment.
Been reading up on your history. Been making sure you get all
the pronunciations right, and don't have to look at stare at my phone while I sing the song.
You can't mess that one up. That's like...
I'm not ready for that one. Let's ease into it. We do a couple Huey songs, so we should ease into it with
for sure. All right, so do you have any cultural impact before we talk about...
Well, we've kind of been talking about it a
stuff.
lot, that like punk was on the critics' minds, and Billy Joel at this point in time was very much he's on Columbia Records, he's a multi-millionaire, Grammy award winning, so he's like the authority. So him doing his version of punk was not well received at all.
Well, and he's
Rolling Stone called...
He's the establishment now.
He is the establishment, yeah. And so him trying to do his version is like everybody... So Rolling Stone called It's Still Rock and Roll to Me the worst single of the year. Like,
oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Like, it was harsh. Like, it was really, really harsh. And they'd go into it on the dog.
I was thinking about this because I looked up some other albums. I mean, Unknown Pleasures came out in 1979 by Joy Division.
Yeah.
And we have London Calling in 80, I think. Remain in Light comes out in 80.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Gabriel 3 is out. You have The River.
Mm-hmm.
As trying to put myself in the shoes of like someone who knows music and is following music, Glass Houses is not the move. And I think I don't know if this is a later concept or talk about like how it aged, if it holds up. I think it holds up as its own thing, but in terms of a cultural like impactful album, I don't think it holds up when you look at the other stuff that was going on and then what ended up becoming the thing that we associate with the 80s, which I think is that new wave and punk and all that stuff that Joy Division and Talking Heads and those other bands were doing.
Yeah, and even the way that power pop develops over the next few years, it's like you're like by the time you get to Huey Lewis, blowing up with sports, it's like people have already moved on from like this stuff. And I think it's interesting that you get 3 records in a row from Billy Joel that are all sort of celebrated by the music industry, right? In the Grammys and all that. And like Glass Houses is like still nominated for Album of the Year that year, but doesn't win, right?
Doesn't win Album of the Year.
No, he gets
wins
like Best Rock
Vocal Performance.
Yeah, which is that even... Do they still do an award like that? I think they do like by song now, right? Like rather than by album.
American music. Therein lies the thing, though, that the Grammys aren't necessarily the most a bar of culture, I guess.
Sure.
Like the bar
for
culture. Or is it? What do you think?
No.
I don't think the Grammys has ever been the bar for culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Billy Joel... I think it's
like,
it's a litmus for the everyman, and I think the Billy Joel's success and like I think it says a lot about like where you are and how you consume art. If Glass Houses is like if you're really really into it, like do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. What I think is interesting though too is the fact that maybe critical evaluation is not always like the thumb on the pulse of like the culture always either, only because I mean, if we like, and we'll look at the full of it later, but like this album sat at number 1 on the Billboard charts and finished the year at number 4.
Wow.
So like this was one of the best selling albums of 1980.
But that's the buying like demographic.
Yeah, but also powered by these like really popular singles on the radio.
Yeah.
So like you've got, You May Be Right was a single, All for Lena was a single, Still Rock and Roll to Me obviously was like the big hit from this. But like he had 2 others that were released later in the, like like this was like, I think that's what I mean is this may be kind of like where the reevaluation has to come after this record, because it's extremely popular, but at the same time, like you can already tell that he's being left behind by acts that are moving into the 80s with more, and I don't think it's for lack of trying. It sounds like he wants to
move on.
He's trying to get in,
I don't think that like the kids are buying glass houses though. And I feel like
probably not.
The Grammys is more of an older, I think it's maybe more of a,
it's a peer
but it's
acceptance,
not like,
right? Because it's a voting of the Grammy Academy.
Yeah, but I feel like when we're talking about cultural movement within the arts, the younger generation is the one that carries the progression of ideas and stuff. And so I think, that's where maybe the difference lies in like the critical success and like how album sales and all that. Yeah, the album can be successful, but that doesn't mean it's a cultural.
Sure.
It's where the culture's moving. I feel like most kids aren't listening to Billy Joel in 1980.
Which is, I think, very telling that like his next album is a live album. And then after that, he doesn't really have like a big hit again until like Uptown Girl. And that's in 83, right?
Yeah.
So 3 years later. And even by then, you can tell he's almost like, it seems like he's embraced the fact that he's leaning on kind of being an elder. Because again,
he
that's
turned 40.
2 years later, he's got a greatest hits album out, you know? And then, of course, like
which
by
is
the
one
end
of the best-selling records of all time.
Yeah. And that says something too, right? Like the popularity of that. Yeah. What year was, I mean, we'll have to talk about it at some point, but what year did We Didn't Start the Fire come out? Like
I think that's 80, like late 80s, I want to say.
Because then
I want to say even like 88, 89, but
it's really funny that
89
for somebody that was already kind of now, considered like old, right? And not relevant to a lot of younger people by that point. Your discovery of Billy Joel was him in an animated film.
Yeah.
As the picture
the kids
of cool.
Jokes on them. Now the kids are listening to Billy Joel.
And then, spoilers, but 93 is when he does his last studio album, and to this day. And it wasn't for, we talked about this a little bit off mic kind of, but it wasn't for health reasons. He just was kind of done with doing, with the pop rock, like trying to exist in that ecosystem.
Like we said, he's never been really received critically very well. It's always been up and down. And I think he just had enough of that. And then it didn't really sell. It still sold like 1 million copies, but it didn't sell as well as all the other ones. So he was just kind of like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Which meant props, dude. Like, sweet.
Yeah.
You can just tour. Yeah, you can just tour and do whatever the F you want, and that sounds great.
Yeah, I really think Billy Joel kind of sits in a really interesting place in pop culture and music history, because it obviously says something that somebody's, greatest hits album is one of the best-selling albums of all time, because people really like these songs and they're meaningful to them, you know? I do think he made it one bona fide masterpiece, which is, I love The Stranger. Yeah. Like, I will listen to that album start to finish pretty much any time. And I also, it's not like some other guys who just got completely lost in the 80s and could not figure out what to do. Like, he's still writing hits, and like, he's definitely still, in some ways, it's like he gets the validation of his industry peers in a lot of ways. but is kind of the perpetual outsider when it comes to trying to be cool or part of a scene, or
Could call him the stranger.
But he is.
Oh.
He's definitely himself, even when he's trying to, maybe not trying to sound like someone else, but even when he's wearing his influences on his sleeves, he comes up with something that is his own.
Yeah.
I think he's got a definitely a sense of voice, and when it works really well for me. Like, even in, like I said back at the beginning, like there's this dual kind of thing that Billy Joel makes me feel like.
Yeah.
Uncool, but also like, I really would love to write a song like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's good at what he does. He's a master of the craft.
Well, and there's a hot cold to it too, where there's songs by him that I really don't like. I will actively like turn the radio off if it comes on when we're just listening to whatever the kind of the mixed station is, and then some that I get excited about every single time.
Yeah.
And like, I get people when I'm playing like a solo bar gig or whatever. I get people who, do you know any Billy Joel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll usually just play Moving Out because I like that one. But like, it's interesting that, again, like, of the requests that I get, that's a fairly common one.
Yeah.
Run down the top 10. This is year-end 1980 album charts. So like we said, this album does hit number 1, and I think it's his first to do that, right? Because The Stranger got to number 2, and I don't think 52nd Street hit number 1. I think this was his first one to hit number 1. Also, side note, I was just looking at the cover of... I have the vinyl of Songs in the Attic. It was my dad's. It's his live album, and the cover used to scare me. It's him like with a flashlight, like looking for his piano in the attic, and just, I don't know what it was when I was a kid, but just used to spook me. Okay, let's see. Glass Houses. I was wrong. 52nd Street was his first number 1 record, but Still Rock and Roll to Me was his first number 1 single. But also, Glass Houses did top the Billboard charts. It sat at number 1 for 6 consecutive weeks, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's a long time to have one album, like, dominating the landscape. Year-end 1980. So the number 1 best-selling album of the year was The Wall by Pink Floyd. The second was The Long Run by the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And Max, I think this is pointing exactly to what you were saying about who's buying records at this point in time.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's Off the Wall is number 3. And what I think is that came out the year before, right? Will you look that up quick? What year? Wasn't that 79?
I think it was 80.
Was it? Okay. But yeah, Billy Joel, Glass Houses is number 4.
1979, August 10th.
Damn the Torpedoes by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, number 5.
Wow.
That's everybody's favorite Tom Petty record, right?
Yeah.
It's his only one
Every
as far
song
as
off
I'm
it.
I know
concerned.
that one.
Damn the
I
Torpedoes.
definitely listened to that.
Damn the Torpedoes. Bob Seger, Against the Wind, is number 6. Pat Benatar, In the Heat of the Night, is number 7. Blondie, Eat to the Beat, is number 8. Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor, which is a record I really like, is number 9. And then Kenny Rogers with Kenny at number 10.
Wow.
Number 10.
Mm-hmm.
1980.
And the top singles for the year-end chart were Blondie's Call Me, Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd, Magic by Olivia Newton-John, Rock With You by Michael Jackson, which that deserved to be higher on that list.
I think so.
Do That to Me One More Time by Captain and Tennille.
Do that to me one more time.
And then, here's what's really interesting. Ready? These 3 people coming up in the next few. Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen, number 6. Coming Up by Paul McCartney at number 7. Then we have Funky Town by Lips Inc. at 8. And then Still Rock and Roll to Me at number 9. And Bette Midler with The Rose at 10. But the fact that you've got Paul McCartney, Queen, and Billy Joel, all sitting together, 2 of them doing sort of throwback rock and roll songs, because Coming Up is more of like a late disco kind of, dance type song. But yeah, the fact that Crazy Little Thing Called Love and It's Still Rock and Roll to Me are sitting on the year-end chart.
Yeah.
There's just something in the air, this nostalgia and reminiscence for kind of older styles of rock music, I think.
And that carries through. I mean, with Uptown Girl
and
the doo-wop.
That's what, 83, I think. And yes, and then, of course, we were talking about the songs that have that same flavor from Huey Lewis and, pulling from those same influences. Like it definitely is a theme that like nostalgia. I think even it's funny to think that by the time you get to like Back to the Future coming out and being this huge movie about nostalgia in the 50s in some ways, you know, that's like the middle of the decade, you know. So
do you feel like it's because in the 80s everyone thought they were living in the future?
I can't imagine like somebody who, I don't know, like was sort of like a young adult in the 50s and like gets to the 1980s and like I'm sure that watching that movie, like watching Back to the Future, must have just been like kind of a wild head trip for people to kind of grapple with how much things had changed in that. I think it's funny to look at, if we look at the same sort of time gap now and we look back, like, yes, there have been some pretty big leaps in technology and like culture, not to the degree that you would have lived through if you were, again, like sort of already like a young adult or a teenager or whatever in the 50s. And then
I mean, we did get the internet in the last 30 years.
We did get, and it has changed a lot of things. It's true.
40 years.
I just think Back to the Future movie that started now and went back to the 90s would be boring.
Can you imagine how boring that would be? Yeah. We're in the reboot business right now.
I know. Except, did you know that the writer and director of Back to the Future, they have it in their contract that no one can remake it until they die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Until they're dead. Yeah.
Somehow they worked that in, so no one can touch the property without their permission until upon death of both of them.
Dang. That's
so
crazy.
Yep.
And then after that, the minute that person dies, we're gonna get
it's on the boilerplate already. Yeah,
they're just sitting waiting on their deathbed.
Release.
Humanity is just wonderful.
Man, I was thinking about when I was writing this, and this is why I was like, throw it all out, just watch the doc, is that I was just thinking I kind of can't wait until we get to bands that start in the 80s or like start in 78, 79, where we don't have to do all this huge backstory where they're like kids and, you know.
We did a couple. Tears for Fears is that.
Yeah, that's true.
We talked about Tears for Fears, and you too.
Yeah,
because we talked about Boy. But yes, more bands that are like just coming up.
Yeah.
Rather than
the one that's on my mind is
almost
Def Leppard.
making their greatest hits album.
Def Leppard.
Yeah, Def Leppard is going to be.
So what you mean is you're just excited to talk about
I'm excited to talk about Def Leppard. Yeah.
After your awakening.
After I went and saw them, yeah. I mean, they need to be on our list.
Yeah.
They are on our list.
Yeah. But I mean, you saw them in Vegas.
I'm just excited to talk about it.
And it was like a religious experience, so.
Yep.
Any closing thoughts on Glass Houses?
Well, yeah. Is he still relevant? Is this album still relevant to that?
I think it's define relevant. I
think it means like if you does
it
feel
hold up
only
today?
like a product of its time, or like, you know, can you put it on and listen to it just as an enjoyable like record today? Or do you have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of, I think because of the way that it does not necessarily sit square in the like, you know, this is an 80s record, the way he's leaning on his older influences. I think it feels, it like gives it a little bit more of a timeless feel for most of it. There's definitely hallmarks of like 80s production. I do think that there are like, I think that you may be right. It's like put that on anytime. I'd have a good time listening to it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely listening to it. Like it still holds up. I think it's still enjoyable. But I wouldn't die on the hill of Glass Houses being like something that has to go down in the annals of history and like it.
I don't think it's his masterpiece. That's for sure. You know, looking back.
I don't think it's relevant in the same way that something like Remain in Light is relevant.
Sure. In terms of Billy Joel, like even like the way that The Stranger is relevant.
Right.
You know, where like you can put on a song like, you know, Love You Just the Way You Are or Always a Woman to Me or whatever. And like you could teach a songwriting class based on that song. You know what I mean? You could be like, this is melodically, lyrically, arrangement wise, like all of these things. And like, it's not like that stuff's not present here, but it definitely is not like I think if you look back at the career as a whole, like the one that you kind of go, yeah, like go listen to Glass Houses start to finish. You know, I think it has its moments.
Yeah, I won't be the last time I listen to it.
No, I'm gonna come back to All for Lena all the time now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like coming back, I keep going to the band, which I think is the best part.
Yeah, we probably didn't talk enough
that-
about the band, but
The drumming and the bass playing are really tight on this album. And I feel like when I've been in recording and stuff, this is what they strive to produce is this. Is like
you can
the hype.
tell. And I think something I read or heard when I was looking into this album too is his mindset for writing these songs was he wanted to make an album that was fun to perform. And I feel like you can feel that in the music and stuff. Like it is the attitude that he puts off, the space that's made for the band and the way that they run with it. I think it's like this would be a fun show to see. If you were going to see Billy Joel in 1980 while he was touring this album, like that's a
100%.
really really fun set.
Yeah, in the doc he talks about how they were playing arenas and he wanted to write songs that sounded great in arenas, which makes me think of is it David Byrne who talks about that, about when musicians write for the
for the
we
space
talk
they
about
want
this
to
almost
perform.
every episode.
It informs the type of music they're
I
making.
have this
Yeah.
thing.
All for Lena in a arena.
Take me back.
Take me there, Billy.
Forget about it.
Take me there, Billy. I do have
Absolutely,
this
positively.
really...
Isn't that from the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have this thing written by Chuck Klosterman. I hope I say his last name right, Klosterman. He's a writer, and he's basically, it's a long excerpt, so I don't know if I want to read it. He's basically just echoing exactly Max's sentiment.
Find a little pull quote there.
Okay, pull quote. This is by Chuck Klosterman in his essays called Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs. Quote, but it mostly just made me think about Billy Joel. Nobody would ever claim that Billy Joel is cool in the conventional sense, particularly if they're the kind of person who actively worries about what coolness is supposed to mean. Billy Joel is also not cool in the kitschy, campy, quote, he's so uncool, he's cool sense, which also happens to be the most tired designation in popular culture. He has no intrinsic coolness, and he has no extrinsic coolness. If cool was a color, it would be black, and Billy Joel would be sort of burnt orange. Yeah, Billy Joel is great, and he's not great because he's uncool, nor is he great because he, quote, doesn't worry about being cool, because I think he kind of does. No, he's great in the same way that your dead grandfather is great, because unlike 99% of pop artists, there's absolutely no relationship between Joel's greatness and Joel's coolness, or lack thereof. Just as there's no relationship between the, quote, greatness of serving in World War II and the, quote, coolness of serving in World War II. What he does as an artist wouldn't be better if he was significantly cooler, and it's not worse because he isn't. And that's sort of amazing when one considers that he's supposedly a rock star. For just about everybody else in the idiom of rock, being cool is pretty much the whole job description. It's difficult to think of rock artists who are great without being cool, since that's precisely why we need them to exist. There have been countless bands in rock history, T-Rex, Jane's Addiction, The White Stripes, etc., who I will always classify as, quote, great, even though they're really just spine-crushingly, quote, cool. What they are is more important than what they do. And this is not a criticism of coolness, by and large. The music component of rock isn't nearly as important as the iconography and the posturing and the idea of what we're supposed to be experiencing. If given the choice between hearing a great band and seeing a cool band, I'll take the latter every time. And this is why the Eagles suck. But it's the constraints of that very relationship that give Billy Joel his subterranean fabulosity, and it's why he's unassumingly superior to all his mainstream 70s peers who got far more credit. James Taylor, Carole King, Bruce Springsteen, etc. Joel is the only rock star I've ever loved who I've never wanted to be. Not even when he was sleeping with Christy Brinkley. Every one of Joel's important songs, including the happy ones, are ultimately about lonely. And it's not, quote, clever lonely, like Morrissey, or interesting lonely, like Radiohead. It's, quote, lonely, like the way it feels when you're being hugged by someone and it somehow makes you sadder, end quote. I just loved that. I was just like,
This line is insane.
yeah,
It's
so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And the swipe at the Eagles is
It's
Earned.
Is it very earned?
Him including
love the
Springsteen
Eagles,
on that list, though,
but-
I'm like, whoa.
You say
Okay.
James Taylor, Carole King, and Bruce Springsteen are all cooler than
Yeah.
Billy Joel.
Yeah.
He's saying that they got more credit.
Yeah.
They got far more credit
Yeah.
and were
I
more
get it,
critically
Which
lifted up, right?
should be the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is
he takes some digs at Bruce Springsteen later on about Springsteen's creepy lyrics.
Yeah.
And how like Joel
Good.
would never write creepy lyrics.
Doing the
like
right
that.
thing, Chuck.
Yeah.
That was spot on there.
I do feel the like, and we touched on this a little bit about like Joel's loneliness, and like I feel like that's right on. Thank you, Chuck, for that. That like I've said the whole album that this is basically therapy for Joel, and he's an intensely lonely and like maybe he's an introvert, and like he doesn't talk to people about his feelings or about his problems. And he expresses them in music. And so for it to, does his music hold up? I think it does too, because I think we're kind of feeling that loneliness now with like the whole phones and social media and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
where,
the
like,
isolation,
Yeah.
as far as that goes, the
if somebody
fake,
liking
false connection, the
the hugs
male
that make you feel
loneliness
sadder,
epidemic.
The
The,
hugs
like-
that make you feel sadder.
right? Yeah.
I got a hug from Max when I came in here today. It wasn't one of those. I just want to
Aw.
let you know.
Oh.
Okay?
I thought you were going to say, I know exactly.
And I want to talk to you about it.
That put words to a
Oh.
feeling that I was feeling.
If you have not, go listen to Glass Houses. Leave us some comments about what you think. What are your favorite tracks on this record? What memories maybe do you have of hearing kind of this era of Billy Joel, who's no longer just the piano man, branching out, doing lots of interesting things in a throwbacky kind of way. And I guess we've kind of established that in a weird way, he's kind of like the ultimate outsider, which is just really strange, you
Yep.
know? Because even to his contemporaries, like, was never really a peer in some of those, same
Yeah.
circles. And it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Well, he'll come up again, I'm sure. We'll probably have to talk about,
Yeah.
We Didn't Start the Fire later on as we go through. But for now, Glass Houses.
Yeah. For now.
We're doing it all for Lena on this podcast.
And Diane.
And Christy and
And
Laura.
the unnamed fantasy girl.
Yeah.
The voice on the other end of the phone. All of them.
It's all good.
Cut all of that right
Yep.
there. Max, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Come on back and we'll talk some more about 80s music.
One thing we didn't get into was, well, we did a little bit at the very beginning, the Elton John versus Billy Joel, but I think that's just,
It's like the only reference point people had, which is
Kinda, yeah.
interesting, Because I don't think
that
if you
and
put their
Versace.
if you
Is
put
that
their
the guy
music
who,
next to each other, like it doesn't. Really sound the same at
no,
all.
not at all.
They're coming at it from a
Way-
totally different angle.
Yeah.
Not at all. They're completely different. And
Yeah.
so I don't think that's really,
And the fact that like Elton John was never a lyricist,
Mhm.
and so the storytelling and all of that is never, I don't know, in a lot of ways it's a lot less personal,
yeah.
And I think you really can hear the like British influence versus the very like, New York rock and roll.
I'm
you
walking
know?
here.
Yeah, like influence that.
What dog?
Even though again, like you can hear the Beatles all over everything, like Billy Joel does, but in a very filtered in a really different way.
Yeah. Cool. all I had.
Do we want to do a outro, or do you just want to tag the one we've done before on there?
Beep bop boop beep. Beep bop boop beep beep bop.
Yeah, go for it.
Tell me when.
We're recording now.
Thank you so much for listening to Your Dad's Record Collection, an 80s album retrospective with members of Starcourt. If you like what you hear, please follow us on social media and subscribe to hear future episodes.